So welcome back to another vlog. Today is the last vlog about Origins, and I'm quite surprised how fast the time went by. Also, I'm pretty excited about the new decks that are coming to us, like Fiora, Irelia, and obviously Ornn, because I love that champion. It's my main, or one of the mains in League of Legends. So playing him feels probably kind of natural, or it was pretty clear I was playing Ornn. Nevertheless, we are here with the last vlog with an Ahri, and probably in the second local we are trying something out, or maybe it's an unofficial local and we play with proxies to get us in the mood for Spirit Forge. If that's not the case, I probably play any or Ahri. And we will talk a lot about Spirit Forge. Next week is a pre-rift, and after that we are already on the release. And the week after that we are traveling to Bologna. Sadly not in the main event, but we're playing a lot of side events, and I will take you guys with me. And I'm pretty excited for that trip, because this is what card games are all about. Going on big events, meeting people you've never met before, finding connections, and I really love that. Not only about Riftbound, about every other game. Talking about connections with other people, today a friend of mine is coming over. He wants to learn Riftbound, so I'm gonna teach him Riftbound. I know him from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That was my former card game. Also, always great time with him. We went to a lot of tournaments together, where we topped, where only one of us topped. But nevertheless, we had fun, we enjoyed playing the game, not only because we liked the game, but also because the community is great. Sometimes there are some people where you're like, yeah, maybe I don't need to deal with that, but in the big picture, we all love playing card games, connecting each other, and we have something to talk about. So let's get over to our Ahri deck and the changes I made. I started taking out some Yodels and put in some Sunlit Guardians, because that's a unit that's basically a 3-cost 5 might if he's alone. But most of the time he isn't alone, and he has tank and shield, and that's all our deck wants. So I'm trying Sunlit Guardian for a lost local with Ahri, because I'm so excited for the new decks in Spirit Forge. So I probably won't play Ahri that fast. Maybe I played at Bologna just for comfort. Then I also put in more Rune Prisons in the main 3, because I saw a list of Spirit Forge that played Twonk at 3. I know Rune Prison is probably worse, but it serves the same purpose, and I just want to try that out. Also, I'm going with double meditation, because we need card draw. I realized really quick I need to see more spells. How do I see more spells? I draw more cards. And we are a holding deck, and that's why we have units we can exhaust to draw 2 instead of 1. Also, I'm trying 1 smoke screen and 1 in the side, because that card seemed pretty good against huge units like Deadbloom, even though we have to recycle another rune. And Stand United is a card I really liked from the beginning. And if we just use 1 to buff and give +1, we basically have a +2 that also can be hidden and is an action, but at least +1 stays for the unit. Pretty interesting with these tank units, and I just want to try that out. It feels, I don't know. So let's just try it out at 1, and the rest is basically the same deck. I think I just went up with the block by 1. Yeah, I play 2 block because that card is also pretty good against almost every deck except Kai'Sa, and against Kai'Sa we just side that up. But before we go into the next day, I have to take you through my Friday. And now, because I really like the Japanese culture, I'm gonna make me some matcha.
Hey guys, it's the next day and oh my god, I'm so excited. We got a package I ordered yesterday. I didn't think it comes in time, but let's see what's in there. I'm really excited for what's in there, and yeah, it's just something for the future. So let's open this bad boy up here. Chinese spirit, so excited. But for this one, we gonna wait till we hit the store at Dual Dudes.
And with that, I started cracking at least one pack to show you, and what can I say, this pack was actually good because we hit an Irelia in alt art and it looks incredible. But with that being said, my friend came over, we played a little, so he gets a feeling for the game, and I gave him Master Yi just because it seems easier to learn the game if you don't have to think about specific mechanics or your legend at first, and then you can crawl into more something like Annie if you want to, because she isn't that hard as most people thought at the beginning. And yeah, so he went ahead, played Yi, we tried a few deck options for him, some tags, and then he decided to play some weird tags in my eyes, but we know each other from the card game Yu-Gi-Oh! And he is a pretty good player in that game. So I said, you know what, test it out yourself, find out what you like and what you don't, and yeah, that's how it went for him. And at the locals, he didn't do that great, I can tell you that much, but he is learning the game, when to use his units, when to pull them out, when to get in with a unit, and that's for a beginner not that easy, but I think he did a really good job at it. But talking about locals, as soon as I went there I couldn't hold myself back and open this display up, and the first thing we saw was a pretty nice rune, and then we went ahead getting some Seviers, a deck I want to play, some Corina and Svalsongor I really want for Ornn, also a Rabadance for Ornn. And yeah, the pulls weren't crazy. I even hit the alt art Fiora I really needed for the second deck I want to play, and that's probably my Bologna pick. And also, if I remember correctly, I also got an Ezreal, but more of that later. Then we went into the first round of our locals against my any deck I borrowed, and we started with a Poro Show-Off, and I think the Poro Show-Off is in my favor, and then I followed it up with a Zona into basically winning the game from controlling with Zona. He also had some difficulties with my legend, but I think a lot of people forget something like Yi and Ahri still, even though in the beginning these cards don't look that impressive. I even helped him out, like at the locals, help people to get a feeling for the game. If they miss some triggers, just help them out. It's a local, you want to have a nice environment, and also going on from there. I played my second Zona, talking about nice for me, not for your opponent, because you just start your turn and your opponent's turn with all the runes you have. In this Ahri version you never have more than 8 runes anyway, maybe sometimes 9. And sometimes with Ahri, the math gets pretty nasty, since you get minus, they plus themselves, then you buff your things, minus their things. So calculating can sometimes take a long time, but in the end here we figured it out, and I used the block, and I just love this card. Block is a crazy card. Game 2, I think we 2-0'd here. He started with a scrap heap, he didn't have anything else to play, even though he mulliganed for 2, and if you ever you don't have a turn 1 play, it's really hard for you to get into the game, especially if you are against a holding deck like Ahri. I again found Zona, had a lot of runes left, and from there on out I just could control down the game, because I had everything in hand. I could draw cards, I even targeted once my own unit with Stupefy to draw 2, and yeah, these tank units I also played were so great, especially for protecting Zona. And I think even in Spirit Forge, Zona is a unit you really have to look out, because playing your entire turn without holding back and then readying for runes and still have interaction for your opponent seems crazy. Like really, really crazy. But with that, we 2-0'd the Annie and we went up against a friend of ours, that's Arian, and he had the Darius baited hook deck, and last local, I lost to him. So this is a great redemption, and I think it was a 2-1, but we started with an Ari here to get into the battlefield, because sometimes that's hard, and I think he even took game 1 here with a play I couldn't deal with, because he had too much might, because the Darius deck can float so many units onto the board that you can't really deal with that much might, because he also doesn't care about them dying. And I even play a Sona in base, I couldn't do anything else and needed to get in from there. And the Draven he played took the game in the end, because I had to trade my Blitzcrank here for the Draven. And yeah, the tank is great, but sometimes you don't have enough to buff your own units or debuff the opposing units. And in Spiritforge that changes. We get more pump spells, more minus spells, but the Ari deck doesn't have enough space, I'd say. And here he starts the second game with the craziest play this deck can produce. He started turn 1 with 3 units on board and a seal, and I think that's crazy. And Darius in Spiritforge also is not to be underestimated, and here block again just wins me the game against Darius immediately. This block was huge, and I just love this card. It's unexpected, you can hide it, you can just buff a Ravenbloom to the biggest amount. Like, you play this card, he's at 6 might. How great can a card be? You make a 2 might unit a 6 might and it protects your other units. That's just crazy. From here on out, he just started floating, but in the end, Sona was just too strong and overwhelmed with rune advantage. Like I said, you play your entire turn, you ready your runes, and if you got double Sona, the game is basically over, because you just play your entire turn for free. Now coming back from the local and having opened Spiritforge is such an amazing feeling. We even got to pull ourselves a purple Ezreal, who I think will be pretty valuable going into Bologna, where I also will be. And yeah, just having a quick talk about what was good in Ari and will probably be good in Spiritforge, even though it's a very, very underplayed deck, at least in China. I want to especially talk about Sona and the card block, because these cards are overperforming since I touched Ari and said, yeah, I want to try Sona. Or more or less, since I saw someone play that. And yeah, I can't say more than these cards are just amazing. I'm looking forward to play those cards in the future, but also I'm pretty excited for decks like Fiora, something like Ezreal itself, and something like Sivir, who abuses this little guy as well. But there are so many decks, and please let me know in the comments if there's something you are really looking forward to or you playing already, because we have TCG Arena to test or some proxies. And with that, I just say, I see you in the next one. Bye bye!